Hi, everyone. Chad Burton here. This is a special event. Let's call it that. Cool, Lori. Special event where Lori and I have been chatting about uh, her practice and clients and different things. And this topic came up that we thought, it'd be a really good idea. Let's record an interview. So I get to be a guest interviewer in Lori's world and her law firm. And today we're going to talk about an interesting topic that's never really crossed my mind as a real thing to think about, which is preparing legal documents, powers of attorney and different things for your kids when they go away to college or back to college or off into life. So before we dive into that, Lori, this is going to be on your YouTube channel, your website, but tell everybody about yourself. Let's start there.
Well, I'm an elder law attorney. I'm typically dealing with your parents rather than your kids. We have a boutique elder law firm in Queens, and we help families get care in place and protect assets when somebody gets sick or needs long-term care, such as nursing home or home health aides in the home or that type of thing. We're basically helping people protect their life savings.
Okay, it's very fancy. So, and your domain is it NY Elder Law Queen? So you're like the queen of elder law. Can we go with that title from now on?
I am. It's
right. Perfect.
elderlawqueens.com. But yeah, that
great.
That
so so what you really were saying up front is you're the queen of elder law in New York. That's your role.
Fair enough.
Great. Okay. Okay. Good. So let's talk about this. So this idea of getting your kids ready from a legal perspective, long time ago when I went away to college, this is not anything we talked about. I don't think we thought about estate planning documents at all until I think a kid was maybe on the way, something like that. So what is it that you're talking about here? Who, you said you usually deal with parents, right? Walk us through, what needs to be done to really kind of take care of this legal issue.
Okay, so right now it's time that the kids are going back to college or starting college. And it's a little bit different this year because we have COVID still looming. And when we send the kids back, we don't know if they're going to get sick or if they're not. So it's something we think about when we send them away anyway, but especially this year. If your 18-year-old gets sick, once your child turns 18, he or she is a legal adult and you are no longer their legal guardian. Now, as a practical matter, the implications of that are if they, God forbid, get sick at school and, something happens, you may be in a position to be trying to get information about them, and the providers, the hospital, the nurses, the doctors may not be allowed to speak to you. So even if they do, they're going to want your child's permission, your adult child's permission. And by the time you get your child and the doctor on the phone, that could take a couple of days. If something happens, you want to be right in there and getting information and making decisions. And you don't have that right unless your adult child has given you that right. And the way we give someone that right is we do a power of attorney and we do a healthcare proxy. Now, the healthcare proxy is the document that says, if I can't make my own decisions, I want my mother to make them for me, or, Mary Smith to make them for me. And then the provider will immediately contact mom and you're off to the races. We put HIPAA authorization in these documents too, so they are allowed to legally disclose information to us. Now, the power of attorney, on the other hand, that's more for financial and form signing authority. You might
Right.
need to deal with your child's school, with their car payment. You might need to be dealing with insurance so that these hospital bills get paid. There are a lot of things you might need to do that you're not even thinking of right now because nothing has come up.
Right. And that's an interesting dynamic, especially for most kids going away for school or like, I am free, I'm responsible for myself. But I think it's probably fair to say that the mindset's a little different now, especially with in-person school being a thing again. Um, you know, back in the day, it used to be like you're just worried your kid didn't get too drunk and pass out, on campus somewhere. Little different dynamic here.
Right, and I mean, that's a thing too.
That's still possible. And actually, quite
That's
frankly,
definitely a thing.
it could be helpful too if you think your kid's gonna be a raging alcoholic and
Right.
they get hurt too. So maybe they're vaccinated and immune to everything in the world except for too much vodka.
But right, when they're pledging to their fraternity
It
or
happens.
sorority, they pass out, they black out, they end up in the hospital. It does happen.
It does. It never happened to me ever, but that's a
No,
different
I'm
video.
sure it didn't.
No.
It really never did happen to me. We didn't go as hard back in the day as they do now.
Things have changed. So, okay. So need some documents in place. People come to you for these documents. Oftentimes people avoid these concepts of preventative work because it feels like it's a pain in the butt. And so how give us an idea of how long does it take? Is it expensive? Why bother with it besides the obvious piece? But what about these issues? How long does it take? Cost?
Okay. It's really a pain in the butt is if something happens and somebody is out of it for a while and
Right.
you have to go into the court and commence a guardianship proceeding and have a judge appoint you or someone else as your child's legal
Right.
guardian. That's some expensive, time-consuming, really painful stuff. Doing these documents is relatively cheap and quick. It's, we basically prepare the documents. They come in, they sign in front of two witnesses, and I notarize them. I may even be one of the witnesses. And we make copies, we give them the original, and they're on their way. It just, in the legal world, it doesn't get a lot easier than that.
Right. And it's not like this is going to cost, you're comparing the idea of fighting in court over access versus the cost of documents, which is obviously much cheaper than having to fight it out, for sure.
Right. It's much cheaper. It's not going to break anybody's bank.
Okay, cool. So this is something that you don't have to, be uber wealthy to get. You don't have to, it's, reasonable cost, easy process to do. Anything else that parents should be thinking about as kids are going back to college to, I guess it's a broad question. Anything else we should be thinking about besides this issue?
You might also want to have them sign a few HIPAA releases. Now, we do put HIPAA releases. That's the authorization for a provider to disclose healthcare information to a third party. And that's a big deal these days. We do put that in our power of attorney, we put it in our healthcare proxy, but a lot of doctors, if you're calling the doctor privately or whatever, it's a nice idea to have your child have signed several HIPAA releases so that anyone that you have to talk to, for instance, when my daughter was in school, she came down with a very bad case of strep throat at one point, and she had to go into an urgent care. And, I simply was able to fax that office over the HIPAA release, and they were able to disclose the information to me that I needed. So that's another thing that
Okay.
is a good idea to do.
Great. Very good. So somebody's watching this video and they want to find out more information or get in contact with you. What is the best way for somebody to reach out to the firm?
They can give a call. We're at 718-740-3300, or they can email us. I mean, there are links on the website.
Oh, on the
It's
website. Okay.
queens.com. So there are several different ways that they can reach us. And you know, if it's too late to get the kids before they head off to school, I would do it when they come back for the, you know, on their first trip back.
Got like fall break or Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right. Right.
Assuming they don't move out permanently and just refuse to ever come back.
Assuming that.
Assuming that. Very good. Well, Lori, thank you for letting me be your guest interviewer today. Queen of Elder Law, anything else before we sign off?
We're good.
All right. Very good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.